I want to talk about this thing called transparent pricing and why in the Silicon Valley, transparent pricing doesn't work.
Let's talk shop.
Listen to me, I'm sorry. I had to stop talking shop since we left.
Sorry, hon, we just slipped into some shop talk.
To define what transparent pricing is, that's a type of list price on a house where the home is listed for the number that the seller is actually willing to sell the house for. The average person would think that that's of course what people do. They price the house at what they want to sell it for. But in our market, it is so common to have multiple offers that buyers actually expect that they'll be competing and pay over the asking price in many cases when it comes to homes that are on the market. It's become commonplace for homes to sell over the asking price, and it's also become commonplace for properties to be listed at what the seller wants to sell it for, even more importantly, at the market value of the house, and yet we see those ones sitting on the market for weeks or months when the ones that have actually been put on the market much below their true market value, selling almost immediately for that market value price. And the reason I bring all this up is because there's a debate whether or not that's the right move to make and in what market do you make that move. So I'd like to share with you my experience over the last 22 years and specifically the last like 10 or 12 years. It has never failed me or any of my sellers to have the price on a house be below its true market value. It has, however, failed us when the seller insisted on listing the house at a transparent price or a price higher than the market value. And a few examples of that, even in today's market, seller has insisted on listing a house for, let's say, $1.75 million. We're on the market for 3 weeks, maybe even a month, and we have very little activity. We have almost no showings, and we definitely don't have any offers. And then immediately upon lowering the price $200,000, we receive over a matter of a weekend 4 or 5 or 7 offers, and they almost or do hit that level of the original list price. So what that means to me is that if you're a buyer and you see a transparent price on a house, you could literally go in and buy that house at that price with no competition and maybe even get some terms in your contract that actually benefit you. But instead what buyers do is they wait for the price to come down to a level that's going to create competition, and then they're going to compete for the house and actually have to pay that same price still, but also they're going to have no contingencies. They're not going to be able to ask for any repairs or credits. Think about that as a buyer and also think about that as a seller. And why does that happen? The reason that it happens is because when there's competition, the seller has leverage. So if you have a property and you price it below its market value and you create an environment where more than one buyer wants to buy it, you as the seller have the leverage. If the home is on the market and nobody wants to buy it and you're the only buyer that wants to buy it, guess who has leverage? It's not the seller. In our market, transparent pricing doesn't work. Also, there's no such thing as pricing a house too low, but there is a such thing as pricing a house too high. In our market, where there's way more buyers than there are sellers, you could list a house at $1 and it'll sell for its true market value. You could, however, also list that house at its true market value and not be able to get it for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 months, or longer. In which case, you may actually have to lower the price and sell it for less than you would have had you listed it for $1.